What's up, everyone? Welcome to Beef Outdoors. Today we're exploring a little bit of slip bobber fishing and putting a new piece of gear to the test. Now, usually when new gear comes out, I'm pretty much always on board, willing to take a look at it. But actually this one, I'm kind of skeptical about. It's the new Thill bobber with like the dart top deal. So let's test it, see what it does. So first impressions of these, they're big. This is the smallest, the 1/8 ounce, and the 3/8 ounce, the largest version. There's a 1/4 ounce version, and they're a lot bigger than I generally would pick for a walleye bobber. Not necessarily bad, but I tend to fish on the more finesse side. So when I got the 1/8 ounce one, I was like, wow, that's actually way bigger than I thought for what an 1/8 of an ounce should hold. So we're gonna take my normal slip bobber rig. We're gonna first put them to the float test. We're gonna do a normal bobber, like a standard one that I would pick, and we're going to put a one of these down there to the test. So these new bobbers from Thill are supposed to be more accurate. They're supposed to be getting on the hype train of kind of like that forward-facing sonar and making accurate pitches and casts at fish. But I'm skeptical because I don't think just because you put some dart wings on the top of a bobber, it's going to be super accurate. The reason being is the bobber is probably not going to be always the end of your line, so to speak, because you got a jig with a minnow or a leech on there. So you have some other factors that's not going to allow you to throw it kind of like a dart. So we have a little bit of wind today, but we're going to put it to the test and check it out. So this bobber here is normally the size I would tend to use for walleyes with a 1/16 ounce jig. Here is the 1/4 ounce Thill Sharp Shooter float, and then I had to dig out probably the biggest bobber that was in my box for a standard float to put on this 1/4 ounce sliding weight and match it up and see exactly what we're going to be looking at. So we're going to do the float test. I'm going to hang a jig off the swivel so it has room to go in just the bucket I have. We'll do it on this, which should hold a 1/4, and then we'll do the rating of the Thill bobber to see if it holds truly a 1/4 ounce weight plus 1/16 ounce slip bobber jig from Mission Tackle is what I'm going to be using for this. We got the jig rig hanging, and we'll float it. That's probably sitting a little lower in the water than I'd like to have that 1/4 ounce weight. So this bobber is just a little undersized. My normal size would absolutely be too much for it. But that's very fishable. Very, very close. If I change that to an 1/8 ounce slider, I think that would be a money combo. So next, we're going to do the float test on the sharpshooter. Okay, we got the Thill Sharp Shooter. This is the 1/4 ounce bobber with a 1/4 ounce slip sinker and a 1/16 ounce jig. And that sits like perfect. So I would say that their weight is correct. I'll be interested to see once I get out the 1/8. That's more my style. But yeah, this sits just basically right where that brown and yellow meet. Maybe a little bit more in the yellow. But sits perfect. Looks good in the water. So let's go test the accuracy and the distance. So the testing portion of this, I've got the traditional bobber, and down there I've got a hula hoop that I stole from my daughter, and we're going to do an accuracy. We'll do 5 casts, see if anything that lands in the hula hoop is considered like a basket or whatever, and then after this we're going to do a distance cast and see how far I can launch it. We're going to see if the sharpshooter is any more accurate than a traditional slip bobber or farther, or if it really does make a difference. So we're going to find out. And we're using the identical rod, setup, weight, jig, everything. We're just switching out the bobber. It's the only variable. So we're going to give her a whirl and see what we can come up with. We do have a little wind today, so that helps with the variables. I think that's actually great because it's hardly ever not windy on the water. Short and left. Cast 1. Almost exactly in on cast 2. Fishing for rockfish apparently on the gravel. Cast 3. Just left. Cast 4. Oh, stuck into the ground almost like a dart. Really close. And then cast number 5. Short and left. I Blair Walshed that one.
Snap good, spot down, Walsh's kick is up, and it is no good, he missed it! Are you kidding me?
If you know, you know, the pain. But this is a 60-foot cast. I did at 20 yards. I took out the old Tidewee rangefinder out of the hunting pack and put her down. And so for a 60-foot cast, I was around the target every time. A bobber is a tough thing to cast accurately because you have a lot of business end stuff to work with. So let's see on the sharpshooter what we got. Okay, rig changed out. We got the sharpshooter. We're gonna do our 5 accuracy casts. Same 60 feet, 20 yards. We're gonna see if I'm any more accurate. Rod, leader, line, sinker, bead, everything else exact same. Little right, distance, spot on. Wow, that started way right and actually brought it back in towards center. Although we do have our first tangle up here, so that would have been a cast that I'd have to retrieve anyways. So that's not good. And I do tend to fish a long lead because, like I said, I don't generally cast like super long distances. This 60 feet, it's about as far as I normally cast. So let's go with cast number 3. A little long, but very accurate. And cast number 4. Oh, bullseye. I might be eating crow here. It's the more I use it, the more accurate it's getting. Cast number 5. That's pretty spot on. Just a little left, but I'd be happy with that. Now, is there a giant difference in the accuracy? No. But is it more accurate? Maybe. It's getting close. I had my only bullseye with this one, so that makes any difference. Okay, so I've got my camera down there at 40 yards away. There's like zero reason that I need to ever cast this far when you're looking at it from a standpoint of standing in front of it. So we're going to launch it. We're only going to do 3 of these, because I'll have to range find each one, but we'll just range find the bobber, and we'll get a good idea. So cast number 1. Holy smokes. My accuracy, and it went 28 yards. Ooh. We'll go cast number 2. I hit the exact same spot. 27 yards on cast number 2, 28 yards on cast number 1. Cast number 3, final one for the standard rig. Okay, that's the furthest one and the most accurate. Come on, burn it in, burn it in, burn it in. "29 yards and dead straight." So overall, good distance. I mean, I don't ever see having to ever cast more than 30 yards. That's insane. So let's try the sharpshooter now. So now for the distance test, the accuracy test seemed to be maybe slightly more accurate. we'll give it a whirl. I just had a small tangle that undid itself, but let's go. So that one actually dove in and kind of died in the air. Well, test done, 25 yards. Now I just have a normal bobber. Durability, I guess, is a factor in this, but you're not going to be tossing it against the ground, but still, it's going to be banging around on your deck and stuff. So we won't get a full accurate or distance test. So don't really want to sacrifice another one of these if I don't have to. So is the sharpshooter bobber more accurate? Maybe a little bit. Casting distance, negligible, but I only had the one cast because durability definitely is a factor. While you may not be casting and hitting it on the ground, you still have to haul it, have it on your boat deck. It's gonna rattle around in your compartments, things like that. So that is a consideration to worry about. It'll be interesting to see how the fin stays on kind of as I use them the rest of summer, because I will use these. I plan to use them, definitely. They seem like a good product. I like the shape. They are a little larger than what I'm used to using, but that doesn't necessarily mean bad. Maybe I can just corner more power cork and learn to do that a little bit. So it's Cole Karski with Beef Outdoors. Let me know if you think that bobber truly is going to make a difference or not, or is it just a gimmick? I'm still undecided. I thought I was going to be strong one way or the other, and we'll see. We'll fish the summer and we'll see. So it's Cole Karski, Beef Outdoors. Tight lines, everyone.